Kathleen with Kathleen's Trodden Trail, coming to you on, Wednesday, August the 15th. And it's kind of early in the morning, but I have both kids home this week and next week, and so I thought, and they're both still sleeping. I'm trying to get the most of the most sleep that they can get here before they both go off to school. So I thought I would try to film here very quickly and see if I could wrap this up in maybe 1 or 2 videos at most. It's only been a week, or like a week and a day since I last filmed, and so it's kind of crazy that I'm coming to you again today, and I sort of hope that this is what it becomes as life slows down quite a bit here in the next few weeks, and we get the kids off to school, and yeah, it's kind of the new normal is what I'm calling it. So anyway, I hope everyone's having a great week. Welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you've been here before. I thank you all so much for watching and joining me on this crazy stitching adventure. It's only been a week, but I have a lot to talk about and a lot to show you, and we'll just try to move through it pretty quickly and get this done with. So as far as my week goes, I sort of, for this week and next week, we take both kids, we drop Ryan off at the airport on our way to taking Maddie up to Augustana on the 25th. So we lose them both the same day, and so I took the next 2 weeks, other than working just my normal work, which I do in the wee hours of the morning mostly. I did not schedule anything for the next 2 weeks. I wanted to be home and around and available as much as possible. The kids both tried to schedule lots of friend events and seeing lots of friends before they go off. But because both of their schools sort of start later in the year, later in the month, and most of their friends' schools start earlier in the month, a lot of their friends have already left and have headed off to school. So Maddie has, I think, something with a friend this morning, and then again on Friday. And Ryan is still working until Saturday, I think, is his last day of work. Maddie's done with work. She nannied this summer, and her kiddos have gone back to school. So anyway, I just tried not to schedule anything for the next couple weeks, just to try to be around and available as much as possible. And I've really enjoyed that. I knew that if I did it that way, that I wouldn't, I would end up with some alone time and some downtime as the kids were off running, but that's okay too. So my friend Gail and I try to walk at least once a week. I mean, I really try to walk more than that, but we try to walk together at least once a week. She is a great motivator and inspirational person to hang out with as far as exercise goes, and so we try to walk once a week, but I've held off scheduling anything with her even because I want to be home. If the kids are home at night, I'd like to be home with them. So we have seen a couple movies. We really love movies. When the kids were small, when all 3 kids were small, we had a tradition that we saw 1 movie a week between Halloween and January 1st. That was kind of back in the day where you know, all these big movies would come out kind of in that time frame, and we would see pretty much a movie every single week. And then as the kids got older and more involved in activities, that became more difficult to do. But so we've seen a couple movies. We saw the Christopher Robin movie. I think that was on Sunday, and I had wanted to see that movie. I am a huge Winnie the Pooh freak. I love Winnie the Pooh. Anything Winnie the Pooh, particularly Eeyore, is my favorite. And it is a very good movie. It is a very, very cute movie, but I bawled. I cried through pretty much the whole movie. It is very touching and heart-rendering. So if you don't like that sort of thing, that might be one to watch at home when it comes out on Netflix, because it is, it's tough. I don't like crying in public, so that was hard for me. And then yesterday, the kids and I went to go see Mamma Mia, the second Mamma Mia movie, and that we really enjoyed that. And there's only one little part that's kind of touching, but it's a cute movie, and you know, if you sort of a musical, if you like that sort of thing. So not the greatest, but you know, pretty good. And then I did. Maddie had some plans to go to a friend's house. Well, one of my friends, her friends too, but I have a dear friend who has younger children. Their oldest is a junior this year in high school, and then they have two that are going into 4th grade, twins. And they had been gifted a Cricut machine and with no instructions. And so Maddie had arranged to go over there and teach the mom and the youngest daughter how to use the Cricut machine. And so so she dropped me off. I said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't you drop me off at Hobby Lobby and you run and do that, and then you can come back and pick me up. And so she did. She's not a big Hobby Lobby fan. And what I was looking for at Hobby Lobby, I had one thing that I wanted to get the DMC for, but what I was mostly looking for at Hobby Lobby was sunflower type decorations. And I did not find a one. I didn't find, I was kind of looking for maybe a couple of prints or some, you know, wooden type decorations or something, and I didn't find any, so that was kind of disappointing. I did buy some flowers, some sunflowers, and decorated my tiered bowl with those. I just left kind of the summer pillows and decorations that I had in that, and then took out the tulips and added the sunflowers, and so that looks nice. But I was kind of disappointed not finding any sunflower decorations. So that was kind of the other big thing that I did this week. Last night, I have notes today, so I'm looking at my notes. Last night, with just hours to spare, I registered for StitchCon. So if you remember, I had registered and was all set to go to StitchCon, and about 2 weeks before, I found out that I couldn't go because of work. So I was really hesitant to register for next year, but so last year Julie and I decided to fly out to StitchCon, and which meant leaving early in the morning on Thursday, and which would have meant that I couldn't have worked on Thursday or Friday, and it was during a really kind of important time on one of my pipelines. Well, it's during kind of the same time frame next summer, but we're going to drive this time around, and so we're going to leave after work, after I get finished working on Wednesday, and that will get us there Wednesday night, and then on Thursday morning I can work from the hotel room if needed. So I think it'll be okay, and I think, you know, the downside is, worst case scenario, I'll have to work both Thursday and Friday morning, which I kind of, you know, it'd be nice to take some actual vacation, but if not, that's fine. I can do that. I can work, you know, I work remotely anyway. I work from home. So I've after talking to one of my clients and my husband and the kids and Nicole and Pam and Julie, I got registered. So I'm super excited about that. Speaking of Miss Pam, stitching between the lines, she had decided that she was gonna, after much debate, she decided that she was gonna give rug hooking a try, and so I sent her some things that I had. Really, just my rug hooking supply / stash is ridiculous, to say the least, and so I sent her a few things that, you know, a couple of patterns that I was never going to get to, and so on. And I got the loveliest thank you from her. The card is over there. A really beautiful card. A gift certificate to Reflections, which, oh my goodness, I already know how. I already have that spent in my mind. I haven't gone back out. But she sent me this small box, and it was wrapped beautifully, and the neatest thing, and I've never ever seen anything quite like this, but there's, I don't even know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 packages that look like this. Sorry, I'm filming this in at a different angle today, and so I'm going to have to kind of, they look like this. It says Lady Dot Creates, and so they're the little finishing kits for Lady Dot Creates. And for example, this is the autumn one. I'll show you the back. So this is some beautiful, I don't even know if that's wool or velvet, but there's some chenille in here. There's some teeny tiny rickrack. There's a larger piece of rickrack, a couple different pieces of chenille, some pom-pom finishing rickrack. It just, some twine, just this beautiful, gorgeous, I already know. So there's an autumn one, there's a spooky one, Halloween, which has, you know, black and purple and green, and it had, that one has ribbon in it. There's a primitive one. I mean, just, I was a little overwhelmed. These are so gorgeous. There's a ho 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 one. So I'd never seen these before, and now that I read this closely and see that it's Lady Dot Creates, I think I maybe have heard of this, but what an awesome thing, and what a really, this was far more than what I sent her in rug hooking. So Pam, thank you so much. I love it, and I already know the autumn one I'm going to use. I may be able to get away with using it on 2 different sunflower finishes. I'm so sorry. Hold on 1 second. I'm so sorry about that. The downside to me doing the videos in the morning is that a lot of people in our neighborhood, in our subdivision, walk early in the morning, and of course the dogs just sit at the window and wait for someone to come by. And we have a neighbor who has this gorgeous, beautiful yellow lab, who's older. He's maybe 7 or 8 years old, and he's very, very well trained and very well behaved, but she walks him without a leash, and he does fine, except for that he does come up into our yard. And you know, I don't mind that at all. It's just that it just drives the dogs crazy, and so you know, they go nuts when he comes up into our yard. So that's kind of the downside to this early morning. Anyway, I have a couple of sunflower finishes, and I'm hoping to use that autumn finishing kit on those, and I love those. They're so cool. Okay, I have an FFO that I forgot to show you last time. I actually finished this like the day before we left to go to Europe, and I took several different projects to Europe. I ended up not taking any knitting, but I took the Mill Hill Santa series, the beaded Santa faces. I took one of those, and I wanted to take a new one and start a new one, and so I wanted to finish the one that I had been working on. And so, and I never even touched that Santa while we were gone. But this is, oh, that's not very good. This is the finish for, and I forget what this one is called, but that's the finish. I don't have the tassel on it or the backing on it, but that's the finish of the little Santa. I love these. I think these are so, they go really quickly. I feel like you get a lot of bang for your buck on these. Nicole Buckeye Stitcher turned me on to these, had given me one of these as a gift, and then I ended up ordering the whole series. So so I think now I still only have 2 of these finished, maybe three, but I absolutely love those. They're done on perforated paper and just super easy. So that's my only FFO for the week, and then of course I just lost my page of my notes. Okay, all right, so I think that I'm already at 15 minutes, so let me end here and start a new video, and we'll talk about whips and haul.